Today, we are talking about a huge shift at the very top of the tech world. Apple is getting a new CEO. And this isn't just about a new name on the door. Nope. This is a massive signal about the future of one of the most valuable, most influential companies on the planet. Let's get right into it.
I mean, seriously, think about that for a second. This is the question that has been floating around for years. The shoes to fill are absolutely gigantic. So who's the person stepping up, and what in the world does this mean for Apple?
Okay, here it is. The big announcement. You can go ahead and mark your calendars for September 1st, 2026. On that day, Tim Cook is going to move into the executive chairman role, and he'll be passing the CEO torch to John Ternus, who's currently the head of hardware engineering.
Now, to really get why this is such a big deal, you have to understand the sheer scale of what Tim Cook has accomplished. His time as CEO wasn't just about keeping the lights on, he completely transformed the company.
Let's just start with this one, absolutely mind-blowing number. So when Tim Cook took the reins back in 2011, Apple was worth around $350 billion. Under his watch, it rocketed up to $4 trillion. That's more than 1,000% increase. Just let that number sink in for a second. It's wild.
And it's not just the company's value. Look at this. The financial engine he built is incredible. The yearly revenue almost quadrupled. It went from $108 billion to a projected $416 billion. I mean, that is a masterclass in how to scale an already giant company into something even bigger.
And that growth wasn't just about money, it was about reach. It was about getting Apple devices into people's hands all over the world. Right now, there are more than 2.5 billion active Apple devices out there. That ecosystem, that's the foundation for everything.
You know, a lot of people used to say that Cook was just an operations guy, not a product visionary. But this right here? This timeline tells a very different story. He oversaw the launch of 3 brand new product categories, each one defining its market and becoming a massive business on its own.
And his legacy? Well, it goes even deeper than the hardware. He was the one who turned Apple's services division into a business that's bigger than most Fortune 50 companies. He oversaw the incredibly difficult transition to their own Apple Silicon, and he really baked the company's values, things like privacy, environmentalism, and inclusion, into Apple's DNA.
So after laying that incredible foundation, the big question is, who's the person they picked to build on top of it? Let's get to know Apple's next CEO, John Ternus.
Okay, this slide right here, this gets to the absolute heart of the matter. We are seeing a fundamental shift in leadership. Apple is going from a CEO who was a certified genius in operations and supply chains to a CEO whose entire career has been about building products. This isn't just a small change. It feels like a philosophical shift. Maybe after a decade of perfecting the machine, Apple is getting ready to invent the next one.
And make no mistake, this guy is an Apple lifer. He joined way back in 2001. He's been steadily climbing the ladder inside the very division that creates the physical things we all use every day. He wasn't brought in from the outside, he grew up inside Apple.
I mean, his fingerprints are all over the modern Apple lineup. He was a key player in launching the very first iPad and the AirPods. He's overseen the engineering for countless versions of the iPhone, the Mac, and the Apple Watch. He's also the guy behind a lot of the innovations in how durable these products are and in the big push toward using sustainable materials.
So how is Apple talking about this huge change? Well, they're making it crystal clear that this isn't some sudden shakeup. They're presenting it as the final step in a very deliberate, very long-term plan, and everyone at the top is speaking with one voice.
I mean, wow, you really can't get a stronger endorsement than that, can you? Tim Cook isn't just saying Ternus is a good manager. He's saying he's a true innovator with the right character and values to lead this company. That's a powerful statement.
And for his part, what does Ternus say? Well, he shows this deep respect for the company's history. By name-dropping both Steve Jobs and Tim Cook, he's basically saying, I get it, I understand the legacy I'm inheriting, and I see myself as continuing that mission.
And then, just to button it all up, you have the board of directors weighing in. The message here is loud and clear. This was a thoughtful, well-planned decision, and the entire leadership team is 100% behind John Ternus.
So let's step back for a second. What does all of this really mean? What's the big takeaway from this historic shift at one of the most important companies in the world?
All right, so let's put it all together. What we're seeing is this incredibly well-planned passing of the torch. The Tim Cook era, which was defined by just astronomical growth, is making way for a new chapter.
And by picking John Ternus, a product guy, Apple is sending a clear message. It feels like they're bringing the company back to its roots, betting that the next wave of growth will come from pure invention.
And that right there is the big question for the future. After an era that was all about operational excellence, Apple is putting a product engineer back in charge. Does this mean we're about to see a whole new wave of truly ambitious, game-changing products? The stage is definitely set for what could be Apple's most innovative era in a very, very long time.